Hello, good morning, and welcome to this session of the 2021 online KBHC experience. Featured warm up with Lin Baird, an offering of Cormont music and our gift to the horn community. In this session, we featured Dr. Lin Baird, professor of music at Western Michigan University, member of the Western Brass Quintet and Western Wind Quintet, and regular performer with the Kalamazoo Symphony Orchestra. I'm your moderator, John Wonderland, principal horn with the Beloit Janesville Symphony, fourth horn with La Crosse Symphony, and member of the board of directors of Cormont Music. Before we jump into the session, a few Zoom housekeeping tips. So that we may be able to hear the presentation, we've muted all participants. Please stay muted for the duration of the session unless one of our presenters asks you to unmute. If you click on participants at the bottom of the screen, you should see a participant list pop up with your name at the top. If the name associated with your Zoom account is different from your own first and last name, please click on the blue More button next to your name, select Rename, and enter your first and last name. This will let us know who it is we are communicating with. If you click on Chat at the bottom of the screen, you should see the chat box appear. Comments posted on the chat are affected by the drop-down menu above the text box. Depending on your selection, your comments may be viewed by everyone or by individual participants. Each time that you enter a comment in the chat, please double check that selection so that your comment is seen by your intended audience. And with that, I'll hand the session off to Lin.
All right. Hello, everyone. Good morning and welcome to this morning warm-up session. I hope many of you were able to catch the concert last night. Very inspiring. Oh, I see some are warming up in our car. Hi, Barb. Good. I'm glad I can see some of you here. This is good. I was afraid I would be talking to just an empty screen, so this is good to see people. This is important to me to to work this warm up out and to be engaging with people. Anyway, last night was so inspiring, and this morning I want to help. I want to help all of you become a better horn player through our warm up and technique session. So I think I'll have John post the warm up right now. He's going to share his screen so that you can see what we're going to do this morning. This warm up, you'll see once we get it pulled up here. Yes. Some of these exercises will be familiar to many of you. I spent many years playing the Philip Farkas warm up in the art of French horn playing, like many of us. And you'll see some similarities there. And I've also spent a lot of time working on my dear teacher Doug Hill, his warm ups. And I want to make sure that you all know that if you'd like more information or a more extensive warm up, go to those resources. The Art of French Horn Playing and Douglas Hill's warm ups and maintenance session can be found on the International Horn Society's website. It's now being published through IHS Press. So take a look at those two resources. You'll find some similarities here. But what I've done is after spending a lot of time with those two warm-ups, I've digested those down to what I feel are the most essential for me, most essential techniques to touch on each day. This warm-up that we're going to go through, and it's 2 pages. This is the first page that you're looking at right here. It's intended to be challenging. It's intended to stretch your technique. And you'll need to learn it at first. It's something that you'll practice at first and learn, and then once you have it learned, you can kind of play it on autopilot. So don't be discouraged if you feel like this is really challenging for you to do right now. A lot of that is just unfamiliarity, and give yourself some time to actually learn the exercises, and then once you have them learned, they're easy to maintain your horn playing each day. Also, thank you. Yes, handouts. I should mention too, what I've included in the handout folder is not only this warm up that you're seeing here, but two steps up to this. So I have a beginning warm up and an intermediate warm up. So for some players, it might be better for you to start in one of those two places and then work your way up to this. There are a lot of similarities to this advanced warm up that you'll see in those other two warm ups. Those other two warm ups are definitely intended to be stepping stones to this warm up. So that's another resource. But what I really want to do this morning is play. I want for us to play through these exercises and play together. And even though I won't be able to hear you, you'll be able to hear me throughout most of this. If I'm going too fast for you, just join us. Join us when you can. I'm seeing especially the scales, the diatonic work. We're all in different places as far as where we are with our scales. So just join us where you can. If something goes too high for your range or too low for your range, just play where you can play with us. So with that, let's get started. So the very first thing I like to do each day is to get my full body ready for playing the horn. So doing some kind of stretching is really important for me in my own horn playing. I'm going to stand, and I would recommend that you stand as well. And we're going to do some exercises that I like to do that help me get ready to play the horn. If anything that I'm doing, your body does not work that way, please make adjustments and modifications that work for you. But we're going to start from our head and work our way down. So let's just do some head rolls. Just roll your head gently around your neck and stretch your head and your neck. We'll just go about 3 times one direction. Take good breaths as we're stretching, and then go the other direction, taking nice relaxed breaths as we stretch. You want to be very gentle with your head on your neck here, so just small circles. All right, let's work on our shoulders. Let's do some shoulder rolls back. Again, 3 or 4 times. I had a neck crunch too. So go slow. And now do some rolls forward. And then I like to end with one backward roll, so we're keeping our chest open. It's very easy in our work of being on the computer and all the things that we do that our posture is compromised and slouched. It's very easy to be too forward on the front of our body, so we want to keep our bodies open and relaxed, and doing one final shoulder roll can help you with that. Let's stretch our arms. So I'm doing a stretch just like this. Just pull your fingers gently to stretch your wrist and your forearms. Breathe, and then pull your hand the other direction to get a good stretch on the top of your arm. Breathe. Very good, and let's do our other arm. And I'll be moving quickly because I want to be sure we get through as much of this as possible in an hour, but I also want to leave plenty of time for questions at the end. So we'll see. I hope we'll get through all of this. We might not get through the entire warm-up. Okay, let's do some twists and turns. Let's turn. When I was in conducting class, this was called a ragdoll. If you can get into a space where you have a lot of room to move, it can give you some nice twisting action. All right, very good. And then let's just do a couple forward bends. So I like to lift my arms all the way up, take a good breath, and then go down and touch your toes. Feel the stretch in the back of your legs. You might strengthen or lengthen your legs a little bit, straighten your legs a little bit, so that you get a good stretch in your legs as you're stretching in this forward bend. Good, and then come back up one vertebra at a time, and then shake it all out. Very good, so that's stretching. Let's stay standing. We're going to practice a couple air exercises, and I could spend a whole class talking about breathing exercises like this, but I want to keep this brief, and again, I want us to get through as much of this warm-up as possible. I think practicing taking in a good amount of air, capacity building, reconnecting with how much air we really need to use to play the horn. I think that's important to do a little bit of that each day. And this warm-up, I think I didn't mention that what's important is the shaded boxes. But the specifics of what you do within each of these shaded boxes might vary from day to day, or it might vary for you and your warm-up. You might have your own favorite air exercise that you like to practice here. I think as long as you're doing something to practice working with your air outside of the horn. I think that will be beneficial for you. This is an exercise I've come back to over and over again. I was recently pregnant in 2018, and so the changes that happen with all of that, this exercise was real important for me, both during the pregnancy and just after the pregnancy, to reconnect and understand how to use my air with all my body changes. So the way I like to do this is to imagine that your torso is cut in half. I put one hand on my heart or my upper torso, and the other hand on my lower abdomen, so I can really feel movement in both places. So I'm really filling up my full torso. We're going to breathe in 3 beats and then blow out double the amount of our inhalation. And this doesn't work well over Zoom, but I would put the metronome on 60, and that's the number of, it's in seconds. That's what these beats represent. So we're just going to go a tempo approximately 60 together here. We'll breathe in 3, filling up our full torso, breathe out 6, and we'll do it 2 times each one. Let's do this together. In 3, out 6. Ready, breathe. Again. Good. And your goal is to move a lot of air. So I take in a lot of air and I blow with a constant amount of air pressure. I want the air pressure to be the same all the way to number 6 on that inhalation exhalation that we just did. So you want to move lots of air. Breathe in as much as you possibly can and then blow out with a full exhale when you exhale. Let's do the next one. In 4, out 8. Move lots of air. 2, ready, breathe. Again. Very good. In 5, out 10, and then we'll move to the next column. In 5, out 10. Ready and breathe. Again. Very good. And in the next column, we get closer and closer to horn playing, where we're breathing in less and less, we're breathing in the same amount of air, but over less amount of time, and we're blowing out a longer and longer exhalation. So in 3, out 15, in 2, out 18, in 1, out 21, a full phrase. So let's just practice one of these. We're going to breathe in 3 and out 15. Breathe in a lot of air and make a constant exhale for all 15 beats. Let's do it together 2 times. Ready and breathe. And again. All right, good. Let's get your chairs and we're going to set for the rest of the warm-up. I think practicing breathing standing can be helpful. You're not dealing with dealing with gravity and fighting gravity with your body. It can also be helpful to practice these breathing exercises laying horizontal on the ground, ideally on a flat surface. So practice these exercises in different ways. But I do find doing that standing, and then when we sit down and use our optimal posture, it can be helpful to know what it feels like to breathe without the competing energy of gravity. All right, let's pause for a minute here. Oh, here we go. Good. Thank you, John. All right, our next shaded box is free buzzing or mouthpiece buzzing. I'll say that buzzing my lips without the mouthpiece has been really valuable for me. So just doing a little bit of a but the more I teach it, the more I realize it's real challenging for a lot of people. I wouldn't get stuck on it, but I have found value in it. And I will say that I wasn't very good at it at first. And then the more I practiced it, it got better. So let's just do a little bit of free buzzing together. You can hear me do it while you're doing it. If this doesn't work for you, we're only going to do this for about a minute or two, and we'll move on to mouthpiece buzzing. So for those of you who want to do some free buzzing or try some free buzzing, let's do a little bit of that. Let's do the tune that I just buzzed. So I'll buzz first, and then I'll give some time for you to buzz and repeat that. Okay, I'll buzz first. Your turn. I'll buzz with you. Ready? Buzz. Good. Let's do that in a different key. So let's go up a half step. Let's do this together. Mom. Together, up a half step. Ready? And buzz. We'll just do one more. Up another half step. Ready? And buzz. There you go. And buzzing long tones and keeping it as steady as possible will help you developing free buzzing if that's something that you're working on. I have a question here. You mentioned that you found a lot of benefit in free buzzing. What aspects specifically of your horn playing benefit? So I can stop and answer that quickly right now. I found that when I buzzed without the mouthpiece, it actually strengthened the embouchure muscles, which improved my upper register and it improved my endurance. So there's something about the way that we're buzzing, and I know it's not the same. How we're buzzing and how we're vibrating our lips without the mouthpiece is different than having the mouthpiece on our embouchure, but you're working similar muscles. And I found by strengthening those muscles through free buzzing, it was a lot easier. I just felt stronger once I put the mouthpiece on, and then of course the horn after that. So I found real benefits in the upper register and in endurance. All right, let's get our mouthpieces out. We'll just do some mouthpiece alone. Now this I would highly recommend. Often I teach a lot of students, and I'm really surprised by how much just buzzing on the mouthpiece alone, just buzzing on your mouthpiece can really instantly fix so many issues and problems. So I'd strongly recommend that you do some mouthpiece buzzing every day. Let's do a couple long tones, and then we'll do some short little scales. So let's do one pitch first. I'll buzz, and then I'd like for you to join me. I'll buzz one pitch first. Now, when you join me, I want you to listen to the sound. You want to play with as pure of a sound as possible, with as much tone and as little air or crackle. You want to be you don't want to be too airy. You want to be more like a really pure present sound. Okay, let's do that together. Let's do that note together. Ready? Buzz. Good. And I think just buzzing for about 5 to 10 seconds, it's great for those embouchure muscles. Let's do two more long tones. Now everyone together on that long tone. Let's buzz. Good, and let's do a lower note now. I'll play the note first and then we'll buzz together. I see a question in the chat about articulation. Let me see, let me read the full question here. Do you articulate the beginning of your free buzz and mouthpiece buzz? That's a very good question, Sue. Hi, Sue. I do not. I like to play really this first page using breath attacks only. I think it's great to practice starting the note just with the air and the embouchure setup, rather than using the tongue. And for me, it's more of a mental thing than anything. I had to really get away from the fact that from the sensation, the feeling that the tongue is what starts the note. This tongue is not what starts the note. The air should be what starts the note, and the tongue is just gives the note a particular type of articulation, a type of front to the note. But I think if we do a lot of work in our maintenance warm-up session, getting away from using the tongue, I think it's much easier for us to add the tongue after that. In my personal experience, I find that most students, and I find this in my own horn playing as well, over-articulate. Articulation is much too present, too much part of the horn playing. And I think if you just let the tongue relax and let the air do more of the work, you're going to have a better result. I see there's another question here. Maybe it's related to the mouth, the breathing attack. Let's see. Does your personal routine include a great quality of free buzzing, mouth buzzing, or do you stick to a narrow melodic range? It depends. I usually stick to a narrow melodic range. I usually just do some things within an octave. That's usually what I'm doing each day. But sometimes if I feel like I need more clarity in a particular register that's above the staff or below the staff, sometimes I'll expand it out a little bit more. But I usually keep it narrow just as a matter of daily maintenance. Okay, let's do some scales. We'll move on a little bit. With a little fifth at the end there. Okay, let's all do that together. Think of it at like one blow, one airstream, even though we're buzzing a scale. Let's do that together. Ready and buzz. Let's take that up a half step. Ready and buzz. Two more. Up another half step. Ready and buzz. To think of the pitches as gooey. It's almost like you're playing a glissando between each note. You want the airstream to connect one note to the next. Let's do one more. Body, ready, and buzz. Okay, very good. So that's, let me make sure I got this on. Even with free buzzing, yes, Julie, usually my free buzzing is a very narrow range. And I even when I'm expanding my free buzzing range, I can't buzz as high or as low on my on my lips alone, as what I can do with my mouthpiece and with the horn. So yeah, my free buzzing range is quite limited. But I have still found that it's beneficial to practice it, even if I can't buzz a high C. It's still beneficial to free buzz up to high C. It still benefits the high C if I'm firming up my embouchure in that way without the mouthpiece. And that's true. Not everybody. That is true. I have found there are some ways to learn to free buzz. One thing that I have found valuable is either putting your finger on your embouchure or on your lower lip. That can help some people develop a free buzz, buzzing against the finger and then gradually pulling the finger away, or tucking your lower lip under your front two teeth, kind of like you're gently biting your lower lip and vibrating onto your lower lip. And then as you get comfortable with that, gradually making your embouchure more and more like horn playing. Sometimes that can get a free buzz starting. But yeah, John, I have found that as well. There's some people I think it becomes such a mental thing. It's a block, I just can't do this, so I don't want to do it. And that's okay too. You don't have to be able to free buzz in order to be able to play. But there are ways to learn to free buzz too if the student is open to that to that idea. Anyway, I don't want to get stuck here. I often get stuck on this page, and I want to be sure we have enough time to play. Okay, I have one more chat here. I found that my free buzzing range is very low, and sometimes it helps for me to start lower and go into a more mid-range. That's good. Yeah, I think that's okay. I think I found the same thing, actually. I was told when I first learned to play the horn that you buzz your lips like a horse. So I always thought of free buzzing as like that kind of sound, and well, no, it's not. Maybe in the tuba, but not. We don't ever use that kind of buzzing in the horn. And so I've also had to gradually learn to sort of tuck. I've had to learn to use these muscles in a more refined way, less like a horse buzz. Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, I think I need to ignore the chat at this point, and we'll do some of the questions at the end. Thank you for the suggestion. Okay, very good. Let's now put the mouthpiece in the horn. After all of that, we should be ready to play. Thank you, John. We should be able to play with a more optimal sound, having gotten our body in a good position for playing, having started up our air and gotten our air going, free buzzing and mouthpiece buzzing. Now we've put ourselves in an optimal position to play with our most beautiful sound right from the very first note. So I usually do diatonic work. So we'll do a little bit of that first, and then we'll do some harmonic series slurs. So I'll play an exercise, and then I'll have you imitate me. We'll keep it real simple right at first. All together, that's C major. All together, ready and play. Now I may lose some of you on this next one. I'm sorry about that, but I'll regain you in a little bit. We're going to go to D flat major. So 5 flats. Let's do the exact same exercise all together, up a half step. D flat major. You can watch my fingerings if you like. Ready and play. Up another half step, D major. 2 sharps. Ready and play. And we'll do one more, E flat major. Ready and play. Now what I usually do is do that little melodic exercise throughout the full range of the horn. So I'll usually go up to high C or higher. In the interest of time, we're just going to stay right there. But I think, and it's important to me that I do something different every day. These first notes, I make up and I play something different. I play from my heart right here every day. I play what's in my ear. So this is very different from day to day, but I think some kind of first notes it's a good place to start. Let's also do some first notes with the harmonics series. Here's a slur that I really like. I'll play it for you first. So you can do this by ear, or if you want to quickly bring up, I think it's in the intermediate warm-up. It might be in the beginning warm-up as well. I have that actually notated out on one of the handouts for you. Or you can just play with me by ear. Let's do that together. It's all on the open F horn. And I'll play so you can hear the pattern. Let's all play together. Ready and play. Right. So it starts with an ascending interval, and then a descending interval from G to E, and then G to B flat is ascending, and then it's descending from C to B flat. So if that helps. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to go up a half step using our B flat horn, trigger 2 and 3. Same exercise. Let's all play it together. Ready and play. Trigger 1 and 2. We're going to keep moving up by half steps. Ready? And trigger 1. Ready? And trigger 2. Ready and play. And last one, trigger open. 2. Ready. So just some preliminary diatonic and harmonic series slurs. That gets us set up for long tones. And this exercise I completely stole from Doug Hill. These are minor thirds, and it expands the range so that you're playing the full range of the horn. Notice it goes from low G to high B flat in minor thirds, and then it starts on that same low G sort of halfway through the line and then goes down. Go as high as is comfortable for you today, and go as low as is comfortable for you today. Don't feel like you have to, I don't want you to force or stretch yourself. There are other exercises that are more productive and effective for you to expand your range, either up or out. So just play what's comfortable for you with this particular exercise. Sometimes I play these long tones really long, and so I breathe after each one. But in the interest of time, let's play 2 notes and then breathe. 2 whole notes and then breathe. So we'll breathe, we'll use every other breath on this one. Okay, these are long, and I like to slur these and again use breath attacks. So I invite you to do that, to not use your tongue on these long tones. Let's play these together. And you'll get a sense, once I start playing, you'll get a sense of how long I want to play these long tones. Let's do this together. Ready? those are real important for me each day, just for playing with a consistent tone, consistent sound. It's important for me to go to play the full range of the horn early in the warm up. Oh, thank you, Julie. um, and I find on my own playing, my face tends to lean towards flexibility, and so it's challenging for me to play long tones. And this has been a real good foundation grounding exercise for my playing each day. It's real important for me to play long tones each day. So, and I usually do them at mezzo forte dynamics. Sometimes I crescendo diminuendo, the two whole notes, depending on the day and how much playing I've been doing that week. Uh, when you transpose, I do play these in all three keys. So you play that whole line starting on G. You can also play the whole line starting on G sharp. So transposing everything up a half step, and then transposing everything up a whole step. And once you've done that, you've played this whole line 3 times in those 3 different keys. You will have played every single note throughout the entire range of the instrument with a really beautiful sound. And the knowledge of that, of starting my day playing with a really beautiful long tone on every note, that's important to me, to start the day that way. So these long tones, I never get tired of, and sometimes if I only have time to do one thing from this warm up, that's the thing that I do, is the long tones. All right, good. So diatonic scales, you can do, there are lots of different wonderful scale exercises. I like this one because it starts in the middle, it goes high, and then it goes low from there. And so you have kind of a home base. You go up from home base, and you go down from home base, and you keep coming back to home base through the exercise. So I like playing these. You can do these 2 octaves, 3 octaves, whatever, wherever you are with your scales. What we're going to do today, and let's see how much time we have. Oh yeah, of course, way too much time. We'll just do a couple of these because I do want to get to the next page and talk about a couple of those exercises. So we'll start on C, and maybe we'll get to F. We'll go up by half steps to F. Join us when you can. If scales are still working on, completely understandable. This can be a great exercise to add to your warm-up, to do that, to practice learning those scales. So don't avoid them if they're not comfortable for you, but maybe play it starting on C, start on D flat, and then starting on D, and maybe that's all you'll do that day. That's completely fine. Use this as an exercise to help you learn your scales too. Scales are important because these diatonic patterns we see all over the place in music, and so if we do them in our warm-up maintenance session, then when we actually have it in music, we've got that muscle memory already there. So it's good to practice diatonic patterns in some ways. This is major. Of course, you can also practice these in minor or other modes. You can adapt these to challenge you as much as you want to be challenged. So we'll go about ba-da-dee-da-da-dee-da-dee-da-dee-da, about this tempo to the half note. And we'll go up to F. Let's play this together. Starting on C. Ready? And D flat, 5 flats. Ready? And play. D, 2 sharps. Ready? And play. E flat, 3 flats. Ready? And play. E, 4 sharps. Ready? And play. And the final one, F major, 1 flat. Ready? And play. Good. And again, I usually practice those in all keys. I encourage you to do those and stretch yourself just a little bit each day there with your scales. All right, let's go to the next page. Yes, good. So this I stole from Farkas's Art of French Horn Playing. And there are a lot of different slurred arpeggio exercises that you can do. You probably have your favorites from your own studies and your own teachers, or maybe things that you've discovered. I come back to this one often because it's challenging for me. It's hard for me to go from middle C to high C. I just find this particular exercise to be challenging. So I do it each day, just so that I can practice that challenge and practice being better at that each day. Let's do this together. I use regular fingerings. I don't practice this on the natural horn just because that's what I want to practice, is actually playing with good clean slurs using the normal fingering patterns. You can change the modes of this and make this more challenging if you like as well. I also like playing it all together and playing the first line in one breath and one slur, and then playing the next line on its own. All right, let's do this. We'll play together. About that tempo. 2, ready, play. Let's do all of that down a half step. So put a flat on every note. B major. Ready and play. As smooth as possible when you play, so just keep striving for it to be even more smooth as you play it. Let's do one more. B flat major. Take everything that you see down a whole step. B flat. Ready and play. Okay, I do want to leave enough time for questions, so I'm going to go quickly through the rest of this. I think tongued arpeggios, it's also important to get around the horn, range-wise, expand our range in an articulated way, and use the good air that you've established all the way up to this page. This really is the first time that I consciously tongue. So keep the air consistent, just like you practiced in all the slurred exercises that built up to this. And I find this is a great exercise for particularly tonguing in the low register and avoiding scooping. That's real common to do this. And to bloom on each note. And this helps you play with more of a consistent sound with each note without that that inconsistent sound. So what you want to do, you want that to be as consistent as possible. Excuse me here. So let's just do one of these together. We'll just practice this as written in C major using normal regular fingerings. Fortissimo dynamic with a good accent, but really good air support behind every pitch. So bum, 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 bum. We'll go a little bit slower so you can really hear your articulation in the low register. You want every note to have the same articulation. So this is to help you strive for consistency throughout the range. Okay, about that tempo. Ready and play. consistency throughout. I take it down by half steps to about low F usually each day. So this is great for low work and of course high work right at the beginning there. Lip trills. I think if you're not practicing lip trills each day, it makes it challenging for it to be there when you need it. So I think just some little lip trill exercise, whether it's this one or something else that is your favorite, be sure that you're playing lip trills each day. It's great for your flexibility. It's great for upper register. It's great for embouchure development and just strengthening. This exercise I like because it starts on the note and goes up, and then it starts on the upper note and comes down. So in classical era concertos, often we need to start on the upper note. I usually practice these as a true lip trill, so I usually play it like that, like a lip trill, not as written, but this is also a great way, the way that this is written, for helping you learn to develop your lip trill. So body da 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 dum. Is a perfectly good way to start playing with your lip trill. So why don't we do this together? Just practice this exercise. We'll do a couple of fingering patterns. So we'll start it on the open F horn, and then we'll go down just 2 fingering patterns. Let's do this together at that tempo. The and I'll play with you. All together. 2, ready. You can go down. So there are a lot of ways. I'm seeing a little bit of chat. I can only see some of it, the conversation. But lip trills are a subject we could spend an entire hour on. I do think doing it each day, I think that's real important. So practicing it each day. And if you're like me, I know for me, flutter tonguing is something that's always been challenging for me. So when I was learning to do that, this was a technique that just did not come easily to me. I would set a timer for 5 minutes each day, and I would only endure 5 minutes of frustration, and I would do my best to figure out, what it is that I'm doing and try to replicate what others describe to me, the sensation of what it feels like to flutter your tongue and play at the same time. I would really give myself 5 minutes each day to focus on that. And then I had a breakthrough. It was an aha moment. My body just figured out how to do it. Now, that's not something that that's not a technique that I do easily, and it's something I constantly have to work on still. But I had a breakthrough to where I could finally flutter tongue playing. So yeah, so if lip trills if you have that baggage around lip trills, maybe set a timer 5 minutes each day and incorporate all the advice and try to really think about how it is that you are approaching and playing those lip trills, and try to incorporate the advice that you're receiving from your teacher and your colleagues and your friends and people who do lip trills. Have them describe, what does it feel like to play a lip trill? What are you doing when you play a lip trill? Incorporate all of that and really think about that. Give yourself a little bit of time every day, and you might have a breakthrough. But if you avoid playing it, I can assure you it's not going to get better. So that's the key. It's the key is to have it in your warm up here. Be sure that you're doing something that gets you closer to a lip trill, and then it should get better. Multiple tonguing. I had the good fortune of playing. I noticed my friend Margaret Hamilton is on the call. We had Scheherazade last week, and I was so grateful to have this exercise I practice this every day to help me get my tongue in shape for for the Scheherazade excerpt that is just lightning speed multiple tonguing. These are really good exercises. I can tell you from experience, this will help you get your multiple tonguing in shape. It's challenging to play it first. Don't let that discourage you. Learn playing it. Write tempos in the margins. See where you are right now. Just start with where you are right now and get it a little bit faster each day or each week, and it will improve. But you have to practice multiple tonguing in order for it to get better. The double tonguing, I want to make sure that that is clear. You start on C and you play it in C major, and then you can see in the description of the exercise it says A after that, and A is lowercase. That's A minor. So you go down a minor third and play the whole exercise in A minor. You go down another third to play F in F major. You go down to D and play it in minor. So start out with C. And then go down to A minor. Good, and I see my dear student Carly chimed in. Thank you very much for that. I strongly recommend this exercise, and this I stole from Doug Hill. I want to make sure he gets his credit for this. So that's the way that works. Play it around the horn, and I think that's a good way by thirds to get around the instrument. But I bring this exercise out often when I need to play with a good multiple tongue. And then flexibility, I think this exercise is very similar to the ones you see in the art of French horn playing, getting around the horn slurred, getting around the horn legato tongued, and then getting around the horn staccato tongued. If high C is not in your range, play the whole exercise without high C. So practice this kind of flexibility. Don't let that one little note deter you from getting the benefits of flexibility practice each day. And then I usually warm down a bit with the end of till Eulenspiegel, C, G, C, and do that down by half step, down by half step, down by half step. So that's the nutshell. Here we go. I'm going to read this. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Margaret. It's this exercise. I'll blame Doug Hill for that. So this is the foundation of what I play every day. I don't do every exercise every day. It depends on what I'm playing. If I have a lot, if I'm rehearsing a Mahler symphony, for instance, or some large Strauss tone poem or something, I definitely won't play through this entire warm-up on those days. So it's intended to be flexible so that you can modify it depending on what your playing needs are. But in the dry summer months, and especially during COVID, I played most of this most days. Sometimes in the summer, this is what I practice, and then maybe I'll play a Mozart concerto or something after this just for fun, just to reconnect with music. But this is the foundation of what I do every day. Here, I've got a question from Emily Haggy. Let's pretend you got a last minute call to play a show, didn't have time for your full warm up. Do you have a quick and dirty routine? Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I like to do the long tones. The long tones are real important to me. And sometimes I'll get to maybe the Farkas arpeggio, slurred arpeggio exercise. You can get that done in 15 minutes. I do think that what's important is to truncate each of the shaded boxes. So I do some kind of stretching, but I might not do an extensive, as much stretching as I would normally if I had all the time in the world to play. I would do some mouthpiece playing, but I might not do as much as I would do on a normal day where I can take as much time as I want to warm up. So I would just truncate each of the shaded sections. Well, exactly. I think the whole Farkas arpeggios are like eating your Wheaties. I think this whole maintenance warm-up session of your day, that's your multivitamins. And the purpose is intended to get you ready to play for the day, but it's also to keep your technique and maintain. That's why it's called a maintenance session. It's to help you maintain a certain level of technique. So that you can play a variety of challenging repertoire. And I think it's important that your warm-up maintenance routine be challenging. Stretch yourself to go above high C. Stretch yourself to make this harder and keep pushing your technique each day. And then you'll be stronger for it. The repertoire that you put on your music stand is going to be easier. if your maintenance section is challenging. All right, how are we doing on time? We have 4 minutes. I'm happy to answer any other questions. I'd love to see more people. I can only, here we go. Here's some other people here. Any other questions? Thank you, John. If you want to unmute and talk, I would love that too. No, we're just waking up.
I'll do one if nobody else does. The one thing I notice in my warm-ups is when I first start trying to hit the upper register, I almost always clam. And I mean, it usually gets better, but do you have any suggestions for trying to get past that? Because I notice it in actual playing then too. Obviously high notes are always or more prone to clams than others, but any
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
Yeah, I won't say that I'm immune to clams. I do my share of clamming as well. But for me, it's always an air issue. I'm in the upper register. I always tell myself right after I clam that speed wasn't fast enough. I didn't blow fast enough for that note. And I'm finding as I get older, it's all changing. I'm sure everyone has that experience, but I'm 45 now, and it's really different to play the horn than it was when I was in my 20s and after pregnancy. My body is different, and I find that I need to do relaxing exercises and relaxing stretches in order for my body to not over tense, in order to be relaxed. But I have to use very fast air. I need to use very energized air. So it's kind of a contradiction. What's living in my body is kind of a contradiction. I have to stay relaxed, so I'm not using too much muscle, but then I have to find that energized air somewhere. And when I frack in the upper register, that's always what it is. And it's doubt. It's often a mental challenge that I'm not truly singing that note. I'm not going for that with the confidence that I do when I'm at my best. One other tip that I have for that, John, is I'm thinking more and more about in the register. What is challenging is not the highest note; it's the note before that. I find that it's the note before the high note that I'm not playing with my most quality airspeed and most quality sound. If we focus on that being better executed at a higher quality, oftentimes the upper register pops out more easily with less effort. It's almost always I'm trying to over control it, over flex, if I just get out of the way and spend my energy being really good with my air support at the top of the staff, above the staff is much easier.
That's great.
For me, it's
A couple more questions, but we actually are out of time at this point. So
okay. Well, feel free to. I can put my email in the chat. Is that helpful? And then if you want to email me, I'm happy to. Here, I'm going to send this to everyone. I'm happy to continue this conversation. I just put it in the chat there. I hope you can all see it. I'm happy to continue this conversation offline. So feel free to email me. I'm around all week, and I'd be happy to talk with you about some of this stuff. Thank you for tuning in.
Great session, Lynn. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
So thank you for attending this session of the 2021 online KBHC experience and offering a Cormont music and our gift to the horn community. Please join us at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time for highs and lows of horn playing, tips for range expansion with Dr. Lauren Becker, Assistant Professor of Horn at the Crane School of Music at SUNY Potsdam, active chamber music and freelance orchestral hornist. And this evening, join us at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for our evening session, Core Values, featuring KBHC alumni who have pursued careers in the United States military, headed up by KBHC faculty member, Sergeant First Class J.G. Miller, Principal Horn of the United States Army Field Band, avid arranger, composer, pedagogue, and the first person to be elected to the position of military liaison to the International Horn Society. He'll be joined by Staff Sergeant Cecilia Bitchen of the President's own United States Marine Band, musician second class Artie Robinson of the United States Naval Forces Europe Africa Band, and Staff Sergeant Abby Martin of the United States Air Force Academy Band. In the meantime, please check us out on our various social media platforms. You can subscribe to our YouTube page by searching for Kendall Batts Horn Camp. You can also find us on Facebook using @KB Horn Camp and Instagram using @official_KBHC. Anytime you post about us or share something we posted, be sure to include hashtag KBHC 2021. I just did that yesterday. Finally, feel free to visit us at horncamp.org for more information about our upcoming online and in-person offerings. Thanks so much for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you next time.